Okay, thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm really excited to be bringing you this topic. It's something that we've been working on Intel for a while, and we're kind of excited. And you folks actually get kind of a 2-for-1 today. You get to see some of this new cutting-edge software, as well as a preview of our new graphics discrete GPUs. So, okay, legal disclaimers, just the standard stuff there. So my name is Peter Cross. I've been at Intel for the most part of the last 25 years. I came out of the semiconductor manufacturing space. I architected software for real-time process control systems and simulation software. So I always kind of had an interest in the game world. So on the side, I was developing games, and I started my journey with Unity probably 2014 or so. So that's my background. Just one disclaimer, although I come from a software engineering background and part-time game developer, I'm by no means an AI machine learning expert. So if you have some deep questions in that space, I may have to answer those, take those offline and answer them for you. So also a big contributor to this project was Adam Goodrich, who's one of Unity's leading asset developers. Developed Gaia back in 7 or 8 years ago, and I actually knew Adam back then, because I was struggling with my early game development journey, so he kind of mentored me in that space early on, so I really respected him and am glad he came on to this project. He's added quite a bit of value for us. Also, big credit to Christian Mills. He's our AI ML specialist. He put forth a lot of the pioneering work that this toolkit came from. I'll be showing you some links to some of his tutorials and things like that, so you can follow along in those if you want to understand some more details of the AI Game Dev Toolkit, how it operates. So this is a slide we shared at GDC, I believe 2020, 2021 actually. When we first started exploring this space, we felt AI could contribute to gaming in a number of different scenarios, whether it was, intelligent partitioning of gaming workloads across not just CPU, GPUs, but also VPUs and whatever silicon you may have on your system. Creation of realistic in-game NPCs, high-performance speech recognition and translation, accelerated creation of massively open worlds, which is where Atom and procedural worlds play, and also assistance for people with hearing or visual impairments, being able to augment games with sound or visuals to help those folks also participate in the experience. So this is, again, what we presented at GDC. As we've been diving deeper in this space, we see this growing monumentally, all the different use cases we've been identifying over the last year. So at the core of the Intel Game Dev AI Toolkit is OpenVINO, our inferencing solution. It runs on Intel Silicon, but game developers don't have to worry about only developing for Intel, because we also take advantage of Unity's Barracuda inference engine, which is the cross-platform solution. So again, OpenVINO allows you to build once and deploy to many different platforms. Okay, so diving into what is the Game Dev AI Toolkit. It accelerates game dev creation, at least certain facets of it, provides amazing new AI-driven capabilities. In the past few years, the big AAA studios have taken advantage of that. They have armies of machine learning scientists and AI engineers, so they've been able to really take advantage of this stuff. So we thought, what happens if we can bring this power to the indie developers, the one-man studios, and so on? So that's why I'm really excited about possibilities for this product. Runs on a wide range of hardware. I mentioned OpenVINO accelerates it for Intel Silicon, but it also, using Barracuda, will run on any platform that Unity runs on. So this is a new foray for Intel. In the past, we've offered tools for developers that did different things like troubleshoot issues you may have with your graphics, things like GPA, which analyzes your shaders and other performance aspects. We also have products like our denoiser, our AI denoiser, which there's a wonderful exhibition down in the convention center on that at the Intel booth if you want to learn more about that. And also our upcoming XeSS, our AI-based supersampling technology that's coming out soon. So again, we were focused on graphics quality improvements and tuning aspects, but this is the first venture into, I guess, game creation and game tooling. So that's, again, why we're so excited about this product. I mentioned Christian Mill's contributions. I'll show you some of the links for some of the stuff that served as the early forerunner for the Game Dev Toolkit. And as we progressed down that path, we reached out to Procedural Worlds and they joined us in this journey. So the first edition of the toolkit includes these features, and I won't spend a lot of time on this slide because I'm planning to go into more details in the actual demos that I show you. But style transfer, world creation, and object detection. At a high level, the architecture is built on Unity's scriptable objects, where you'll see that these ML configurations can easily be upgraded or adapted with new scriptable objects that a user can add, take what we built, and then build on top of that. So very modular, very extensible technology. And although we show DirectML here, it's currently not developed yet. We're still road mapping that, but OpenVINO and Barracuda are supported. Okay, so I want to show you a message from Adam at Procedural Worlds.
Thanks, Peter. My name's Adam Goodrich, and I'm the founder of Procedural Worlds. Last year, we were delighted to be approached by Intel and recognized as one of their global software innovators. And as we explored how we could work more closely together, we decided that it would be really interesting if we brought the power of Gaia to the power of the Intel AI Game Dev Toolkit, and so Gaia ML was created. First, a little bit about Procedural Worlds. At Procedural Worlds, we're all about empowering creators. We have a bunch of tools, which is about world creation. We have a site called Canopy, which is all about educating the community. And we have a product called Connect, which is all about bringing people together so that they can socialize, monetize, and explore together. At a high level, our products are broken down into Create, Connect, and Scale. Create are a bunch of products that are all about world creation. Connect is about bringing people together and creating social experiences. And Scale is all about helping Unity to run better at Earth scale. And to get a sense of this, here is a quick demo of what our tools can do. What Gaia is really good at doing is simplifying complex processes. So what we decided to do was bring Gaia and the Intel GameDev AI Toolkit together to create Gaia ML. Gaia ML makes it easy to get started and brings world building to OpenVINO and Barracuda. We see Gaia ML as a great way to create environments within which to explore the use of AI for your own games. To get your copy of Gaia ML, go to the Intel GameDev AI Toolkit webpage, then click through to Gaia ML from Procedural Worlds. This will take you to Canopy. From here, you'll land in our library where you can watch a tutorial and read the documentation about the product and how to set it up. Then you can go to our download section to download your copy. And then finally, for help and support, you can go through to our forums. Okay, so there's a quick introduction to us and Gaia ML. I hope you liked our presentation. And now it's back to Peter to do some demos and show this all in action. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Adam. Good stuff. He's got a lot of great resources in his library of tools. Okay, so let me show you some of the links before we get started with the demos. As I mentioned, Christian Mills is our AI machine learning expert, and a lot of the technology that you'll see started from these tutorials. And the tutorials are great, but they're very extensive, long tutorials. And the complaint we got from developers is they're great, but it takes hours or even a day or more to put together all the code from this tutorial. So that's why that was the impetus for us creating a toolkit so that you don't have to go through all these steps. We do it for you, and through a few clicks, you can accomplish everything that these tutorials have. And there's tutorials on style transfer and tutorials on object detection. So again, if you have questions on the deep questions on the machine learning, why we chose certain algorithms over the other, I would say go to these tutorials and articles. They go very in depth into what drove decisions and such. So, and with that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the demos. So, as you saw in Adam's video, there was two links. There's on the Intel GameDev Toolkit page, there's a link to the foundational toolkit source code, and then there's a link to the Gaia ML code, which includes the foundational toolkit plus loads more. I would encourage you to download from the Gaia ML link since there's so many more capabilities. But from perspective, I want to show you how easy it is to get started with just the foundational toolkit. So here I've just created an empty Unity scene. I can add, let's add a plane. We can add some interesting objects to the scene. Let's actually add a first-person controller. Let's remove the default camera, use the controller camera. Add a few interesting props to the scene. Garbage can, which is way oversized. And maybe a road sign. Where's that road sign? There we go. So just a basic scene, nothing too fancy. Move around, see the objects. So what I'm going to do is add style transfer to this scene. You'll notice that we have the AI GameDev Toolkit as an asset. So you simply have to copy this folder. Again, this is using the foundational toolkit, not Procedural Worlds plugin. Their plugin handles all of this for you, but I just wanted to show you a base level. So you just drag that into your scene. Here it's already there. It provides several inferencing folder scripts. Dragging into that scene will then create this menu item. It's as simple as adding inference features. In this case, we have object detection built in. We have style transfer with Barracuda built in. We'll have OpenVINO. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the OpenVINO. There, it's in the scene now. Should be able to run it. And again, this is not a trained model. So it's not as pretty as it could be because I created in, 60 seconds. So I didn't do any tweaking or configuration, but you get style transfer. And let me back up to show you why the style transfer looks that way. We actually trained the model, the style transfer model, based on this image, which came from Raja Koduri's tweet last year. Basically kind of a Gothic style, medieval type of image. So that's why the style transfer took on the artifacts that it did. So we used a single image for the training, and you saw the results. I'll show you a more advanced demo where it looks a little bit better. But essentially, this is what I just did for this particular demonstration. So now I want to show how you add this to an existing project. In this case, I want to work with Unity's spaceship demo project, which I believe is about 2 years old or so, but it was a very impressive demo for shader graph and some other capabilities that were introduced. It adds HDRP, so there's a little bit extra tweaks that you have to do. It's not too bad though. Let's see. This is the spaceship demo Unity blog about that. And again, from our GitHub, there's some very detailed documentation that Christian helped put together on getting started with HDRP. Really, it's not too difficult. You just have to add a couple helper files into the settings. Change this volume components. And override some of the default texture helpers. So it's a total of about 8 steps, takes about less than 2 minutes to actually do. But this is what you get. And again, I want to reiterate, I'm running this demo on a Intel NUC, a Beast Canyon NUC 11th generation CPU, and it's got our brand new pre-production Arc A770 graphics card. So hopefully being released soon. But it is a pre-production unit, so there may be some glitches or things like that that pop up. So just a disclaimer in that space. So I've already added the inference manager into this demo. It was as simple as what I showed you before. I just dragged it into the scene, dragged that folder, and then from the window, I configured the inferencing here. So I'm going to start the demo with everything turned off, all the AI turned off. So you'll see this is the standard Unity demo. Is audio turned off?
Hello, Baker. Can you hear me? I hope you made it safely
So
down
yeah, this is
there.
still an
I hope you
impressive
can hear
demo,
me.
even though it
I
is
can't hear
2 years
anything. The
old.
whole system's busted. There you are. I see you in the monitor now. Good to see you're well.
Security check in progress. Access granted.
There's a secure shell terminal there, just where you are. Put in the coordinates, and hurry up and get us to the landing site.
Okay, so now I'll run that and I'll turn on the style transfer so you can see the difference. And again, this is an off-the-shelf style transfer trained on that one image that I showed you from Raja's tweet. So we didn't do any customization. So it's not going to look as pretty as it would be if I spent a little bit of
Can you hear
time
me?
playing
I
with
hope you
it.
made it
But
safely
it'll
down
give you
there. I hope
an
you can
idea
hear
of
me.
just how quickly you
I
can
can't
add
hear anything. The
new
whole system's
stylizations to
busted.
the games and so forth. So I still haven't turned it on yet, but I'll try and turn it on. It looks a little bit better when there's a little more light in the scene, but it almost
There you
gives it
are.
like an
I see
Event
you in the
Horizon
monitor
type
now.
of feel, if you
Good
remember
to see
that
you're
movie.
well.
So, developers can stylize their game on the fly. You can add like seasonal, holiday type of things very easily to your game by doing this type of style transfer. And it's very performant. Style transfer is a very GPU intensive task, but this ARC 770 seems to be handling it very, very well. So next we'll revisit our slides. And we'll turn our attention to what Adam put together for Gaia ML. Did anyone see the GDC presentation from back in March where Adam and I presented this stuff? So we had a much longer time. I think we had almost an hour to present. So it was a very extensive walkthrough for how to set this up. So what I've done is I've added a link here so you can, we presented at both NordCon and GDC, but they're pretty equivalent. So I would suggest to go to that link to watch how the step-by-step, how it's set up. Again, I think he set it up in less than 2 or 3 minutes. So it was very, very quick. And in this demo, I'm going to show you object detection in play. And we had a lot of questions after the GDC presentation. Okay, this is interesting, but what does it really buy me? So I'm going to share with you, after we go through the demos, some ideas that we came up with and that we're actually starting to formulate and put into our development plans. So this is, again, going back to the NordCon and GDC, in those presentations, Adam walked through building this island, populating the island with buildings, with roads and other sorts of features. So all of that he was able to do very quickly. We have our inference manager. And again, going back to, this is using the Gaia ML plugin rather than the base foundational toolkit. So you still get an AI Game Dev Toolkit menu, but Procedural Worlds also has their menu for Gaia, and I would recommend using this because it quickly gives you the inferencing tab as well as your other game configuration tabs all in one place. And again, the scriptable object architecture makes it very easy to add more modules to this, more features beyond just these 3 that we included in the first release. So I'll show this demo very quickly. I know we've only got about 5 minutes and I have a couple of other things to talk about. But the object detection, you can see, and it's an off-the-shelf Coco Yolox object detection model. So there was no training done. We just downloaded it from Open Model Zoo, plugged into the game, and it does a reasonably good job of detecting all the objects in the scene, or a good portion of the objects that it's trained for. I think there's 85 different objects that AI model is trained to recognize. So yeah, Adam's demo goes into more of the world building, or the island building in this case. So definitely tune into that to see how that was done. All right, and yep, that's what we just talked about, the object detection of the scene. And the last demo I want to show is the Loyal Shooter demo that Adam put together. This demo shows how object detection is used for target identification in the game. And your AI Loyal Fighter uses the computer vision aspects to identify targets. So it's very different from your traditional game development paradigms of using colliders and things like that for detection. So this is me flying forward. I'll fly out into the ocean just a little bit so that you can see that this AI fighter that's accompanying me, this wingman, should appear at some point. There he is right there. So what he'll do is you'll see the targets being identified by the AI. So the AI is using CV for all those blue squares to identify targets, and then the red box is what it's decided to hone in on for shooting down. So it's a very simplistic demonstration of how object detection might be used in one scenario. Again, we got feedback, well, this is interesting, but maybe it's not practical all the time. But again, we're introducing this toolkit to provide kind of a foundation, and we hope developers take it and run with it and develop things that we never imagined. So let's see. We only have 2 minutes. So there's some information. Adam presented at one of the machine learning conferences a few weeks ago. So I would recommend watching this video to see him showing how a practical way for how the toolkit could be extended to add your own functionality, your own goodness. And so here's from the Gaia site, or from the Canopy site, which is Procedural World's site for accessing their tools and documentation. This is where you can get all their tutorials. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but Gaia ML is completely free. Procedural Worlds is offering it for free. So typically you would buy Gaia from the asset store, but in this case, Gaia ML, it doesn't have all the features as the asset store version, but it's definitely a full-fledged product that you can start with. And let's see. QR code will get you to this link, and from this link you can get all of these other starter projects and the GitHub for the foundational source code. Also, a little plug for the Graphics Innovator Program at the bottom. I manage that, and that's how I identified Adam and Christian. They came in from that program. These are folks that Intel puts under NDA. We seed them with hardware, and then they work with us to develop cool proof of concepts like what you're seeing today. So if you're interested in that program, let me know, and I can see if we can get you plugged into that. And I mentioned one last point. At GDC, people ask, okay, what can I do with some of this object detection stuff? So one of the cool features that we're looking at is audio augmentation. One of the things as a game developer I always struggled with is adding audio to the scene, footsteps, rain falling, things like that. Having to use colliders to time everything. So we're looking at adding machine learning libraries that will, in real time, look at your scene and add the audio effects itself. So you don't have to worry about it. You just download the library. It adds guns, gunshots. It adds rain, all sorts of things. So I think for me as a game developer, that's a very cool application of this technology. And we're looking at adding that in a release later this year. So with that, questions. I know we're running out of time, but you can email me. I'll be at the Intel booth in the convention hall tomorrow morning. Do we have time for questions? We're at. Yeah, I'll be here for a little while tearing down, so if you want to ask questions, reach out. Thank you.